Hello there. This will hopefully be two things. One, pretty short video. Two, pretty simple build. So I moved into my workshop about, I think 6 months ago. Very happy with how everything works, except for one thing. My area for plywood and all kind of scrap pieces, they're not arranged in any way. It's super hard to get anything out there. I have absolutely no idea what's behind that thing. So my plan is to build a rack to have them on two sides for it to be movable. Maybe I can take the wall behind into some actual use after I have the rack that I can move around. So as mentioned, hopefully very, very simple build, but then again, something we all need, I guess. Anyone who builds something, we are always struggling with space. This is now my issue, so let's see if I can fix it. Now, I had basically two goals for this build. The first one was that I would be able to build it in one evening. And the second is that I don't need to buy anything. I will only use stuff that I have here. So building it from scrap pieces of plywood, building it from my scrap pieces of 2x4s, and whatever I can find from that pile. It kind of worked out, but then again it did not. So if you watch the video, you will see one thing I needed to fix after I had everything done. Not a big thing, but both of those goals kind of failed. So the way I started is I just built the base. Very simple, nothing fancy here. You can actually build this kind of rack with, I would say, only a drill and a hand saw. There's really nothing special needed with this, but after I had the frame done, I attached the casters I found at my workshop. They are very small, but they felt sturdy, so I felt confident that it will do the trick. And then after the structure was done, I used some leftover plywood that I had from my previous assembly table. That's why you see the dog holes here. It's fine, it was almost perfect size. From the sides it's like half an inch. Too short, but it doesn't really matter here. So I just put it on, and as it was slightly too long, I just used my track saw to get it flush with the base. So very simple, very quick, everything going all right now. Then for the structure that will be holding the plywood, I decided to cut these in 5-degree angle. Obviously you can choose whatever angle fits you, but for me the 5 degrees seemed to be the sweet spot that fits to my base and will hold it nicely. And I stacked these together, which was the easy way on making sure that these structures will be exactly on the same spot with each other, which will make life easier when I do the final assembly. And I just used screws from the sides and from the ends, and later on I also screwed it from the bottom, so it is very, very sturdy. I've had no issues with it. Didn't want to do any fancy joinery here because it doesn't really need it, and as mentioned, the plan was to build this in one evening. So after that was done, again back to my scrap piles, and I'm using the same plywood that I used for the base for making these, I don't know, shelves, whatever they are called, which I will be using for storing random pieces of plywood and other scrap material that I have. So up until now I think it took like 1.5 hours to get here. And then the final thing, I add these holders or support pieces that will make sure that the plywood doesn't slip away. So the only purpose here is to have this kind of a lip that will make sure that the plywood doesn't fall to the ground when I'm moving this thing. But then I'm basically done with it. So the only thing left to be done is to load it up and see how it works. And as I mentioned, I had to do one fix that you will see very soon. I just don't know it yet, so 1.5, maybe 2 hours up until this point. And then I thought I was done, but one issue that you will see me facing very, very soon now. So it's done, kind of. Yeah, it's a bit of a problem. So I think I can move it, but the problem is the casters. They're this tiny. They cannot really support the weight. I was kind of hoping they would, but not really. So how to fix it? With bigger casters. So I don't know, these are like 10 times bigger. This should work, so small fix. So after I've loaded everything here, next step, I need to take everything out. It only takes a few minutes. Then I put it on its side and attach the bigger casters, and I think this should do the job very well, I hope. I actually took time. It was like 5 minutes for me to unload everything. Not a big thing, but of course this ruined my original goal on having it built in one evening and me not having to buy anything, because by the time I was done with it, it was so late that the shops were already closed, so I needed to wait for the next day to buy the new casters and finish the project. So I would say overall it maybe took like 2.5 hours from start to finish. But of course there was this one night in between when I needed to wait for the shops to open again. So kind of succeeded on my original plan, but then again not. But anyway, here you see I'm putting it to its side. I'm taking the old casters out and replacing with the new ones. And as I mentioned in the beginning, this was a good moment, an opportunity to add screws to the structure from the bottom as well. I think it would have been fine without these, but as I was here, it was a nice place to add even more screws to the structure, so it will surely hold anything I throw at it. I think this part took maybe 10 minutes extra that I needed to do on this, but then it was done again. So the same process that I did before. Load all the scrap pieces I have again to the structure and then try it out again, and this time it worked. So I mean, yeah, I could have been smarter in the beginning and figure out that the tiny casters wouldn't be able to support it, but then again I had to try. But these are rated for heavy duty work and it works just fine. So with that I'm done. I will load it up and then I'll just try to spin it a few times, and as you can see from the video, it all works fine. So this was a quick one. Thanks for watching, and the next video will be more, I don't know, traditional furniture building again. So this was a quick side project, but I'm very happy with how it turned out.